Are you ready to get to the actual work that we use this table for?
Sure.
Okay, so we are going to do an equation. And with our equation, we're going to use our newfound knowledge about those numbers. So we have a whiteboard here, and we have dry erase pens in our hierarchical colors that match our checkerboard and all of our other things. And I just have a black one to write our equation. So we're going to write a number, and we're going to analyze which categories our things will be. So we're going to start with 43. And I'm going to leave some space so you can see. You don't have to leave such giant space. 43, and we're going to multiply that by 23. That is the equation we're going to use. And I think we might run out of room, but we're going to try it out anyway. Okay, here's my table of all of the ways we make things, and I'm going to leave it to the side here so it helps me. When I multiply a unit times a unit, I get a unit. And so I'm going to make a mark here. When I multiply a unit, my green isn't working. Well, we will do something else.
My idea.
We're going to use a Sharpie, and then we'll have to wipe it off. Okay, when we multiply a unit times a unit, we get a unit. So 3 times 3 gives us the unit. 3 times 3 is
6. No, 9.
I think she did that the last time we did this example too. So I'm going to make it bold so you can see. It gives us a 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And that's green. I hope you can see that it's green. Next, we're looking at our unit, our 3, and we're multiplying it by our 10. So we have a unit times a 10. And if we look at our chart here, a unit times a 10 gives us a 10. So that would be our blue color. Unit times a 10 gives us a 10. And 4 taken 3 times 4 times 3 is
12.
12. And it's 12 tens, so I'm going to leave it just like that. And now we have multiplied both of our numbers and by our unit. Now we're all done with that. So now we're moving to our 10. So we're starting with a 10, and we're multiplying our 10 times a unit. A 10 times a unit. 10 times a unit gives us a 10. So it goes like this. And now we're multiplying 2 times 3.
6.
2 times 3 is 6. And it's a 10, so it's blue, and it's in the 10 category. It goes right here. We have no units. I'm going to put a 0. We have no units because we started with a 10.
Should you have done that in green?
No, because we're in tens.
Right.
We have no units because we're a 10. And now we have this one left, our 2 times our 4, and it's a 10 times a 10. If we look at our chart, here's 10 times 10. T times D, 10 times 10 equals 100. Hundreds are red. 4 times 2 is 100. 4 times 2 is 8, and it's red because it's 100. Now, if you've done other work with long multiplication, you know that these are called partial products, and we just add them together to get our final product. So we're going to add this together. 9 plus 0.
9.
And 2 plus 6.
8.
And 8 plus 1.
9.
And that's how we solved it. So you have 43. We used cross multiplication. Now you can see where that cross comes in, because I called it cross multiplication, but we didn't know where that would be. We have a cross, and we have our partial products, and we have our final product at the bottom. And you can see how easy it is to know which category they are, because you can see there's only one unit, only one way to get units. And there's 2 ways to get tens. There's 2 ways we got tens, and there's only 100, one way to get 100. And so that's one way you can organize your multiplication so that you can do cross multiplication. Will you hand me the eraser? Okay, we'll do one more, and then you can do as many as you like for follow-up.
And then the Sharpie.
Okay.
How to erase Sharpie.
The next one we're going to do into the hundreds. And the only problem with that is that the screen, it might get kind of small. So I'm going to move you to a single screen so you can see everything at, this bigger so I can write a little bit smaller. Okay, our chart is still here. We still have a workspace. Okay, perfect. We're gonna do 123. And we're going to multiply that by 456. I always like to do numbers like that, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're fun to do. Okay, so we're gonna start with our unit. And in this case, we have a unit times our unit. A unit times a unit gives us a unit. Okay, I hope that shows green.
It doesn't look black.
3 times 6, Selena.
18. Sorry.
18. There's a big 8. This doesn't have as big of a writing surface, so I have to make it bigger. 18, and I'm going to bring our other 1 right here because this is our unit 18. Okay, now we have our unit times a 10, and a unit times a 10 gives us a 10. So we'll use our blue marker, and we're going to cross that way. 2 times 6.
12.
12, and we still have this little one right here to add in, so that gives us
13.
13, and we'll have a little 1 left over right there. And now we have 6, our unit 6 times 100. So a unit times 100 gives us, a unit times 100 gives us 100. And we'll use our red because red is 100, and it goes across all the way there. So 6 times 1.
6.
Plus 1 more.
7.
And you can see there, we had 1 way to make a unit, we had 1 way to make a 10, and we had 1 way to make 100. Now we're moving on to our tens place. So we're gonna start with our blue. Because we're a 10, we have no units. So I'm gonna put no units for our 10. Okay, we have 10 times a unit. 10 times a unit gives us a 10. So I'll cross that one right there. What is 5 times 3?
15.
15. And I'm going to actually erase this one so that we don't accidentally use it again. Okay, and now we're going to look at our 10 times a 10. 10 times 10. 10 times 10 right here equals 100. So we'll use our red. 10 times 10 is a red, it's 100. 5 times 2.
It's 10.
Plus 1 more 10.
11.
And we don't have another category. Oh, we do have another category. I have to put it right there. And now we have a 10 times 100. 10 times 100. 10 times 100 gives us 1,000. 1,000 is green. So a 10 times 1,000 is a green. And that is not black, it is green. And now we have 5 times 1 is
1. 5.
500s
I had to think
plus
about that.
1 more.
6.
6. Okay, now we have completed our 10. So I'm going to erase those extra numbers. And because we're now working with our 100, we have no units. We have no tens, and we're starting with the 100. 100 times a unit gives us 100. 4 times 3.
12.
And it brings a 1 over here. Now we have our 100 times a 10. If we look at our chart, we have 100 times a 10 right there makes 1,000. So this one right here goes like this. It's 1,000. And so 4 times 2 is
8.
plus 1 more,
9.
9,000. 9,000. All right, and now that we have done our 9,000, we need to look at our 100 times our 100, 4 times 1. 100 times 100 right here gives us a 10,000, so we'll use blue. 4 times 1 is
4.
And now we add it all together. Okay, you can see that we had lots of color going on. We have one way to make a unit, and we have two ways to make a 10, one here and one here. And we have 1, 2, 3 ways we made 100, 1, 2, 3 ways to make 100. And then we had 1, 2 ways to make 1,000, 1, 2, and 1 way to make a 10,000, and it's right here. So this cross multiplication really helps you to see all of those. Let's add it up. 8 plus 0 plus 0.
8.
3 plus 5
8.
plus 0. 7 plus 1 is 8 plus 2 more.
10.
I like to look for numbers that are easy to add. 9 and 1 makes 10 plus 6.
16.
And 4 plus 1.
5.
So our answer to that question, 123 taken 456 times, gives us 56,088. So I hope that you enjoyed working with cross multiplication. We did a 2-digit number times a 2-digit number, and here we did a 3-digit times a 3-digit. How I want you to follow this up, I would like you to make this table in your journal so that you saw how often I went back to it to see which category if I wondered, if I wasn't sure. And then on your next available page, whichever one that would be. For you, it would be this one, but you can see mine is showing through. I want you to do a couple equations just like we did here on the whiteboard. You would use colored pencil or you can use crayon to make your color lines between. With cross multiplication, you saw I needed some space to do this crosswork. So if I were doing it or if I was giving you the recommendation, I would write your multiplicand and then leave a blank space and then write your multiplier so you have enough room to show your crosses. And I will try to take a picture and share with you what that looks like. But this is another way of doing our multiplication, abstract multiplication on paper in a quick way and with this little bit of help. And once you've practiced this process, then the work will be so much easier for you. I recommend choosing numbers that you're comfortable and familiar with until the process seems easy. If you start with, if you were doing like 878 times 787, that would be more challenging work because you're doing your 7s and 8s. So I recommend starting with easy numbers that you can practice the process first and then show your mastery with your other skills. I hope you enjoyed this new way of multiplying. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.